Hey guys, how's it going? So today I wanted to bring you another tutorial along the lines of the melodic dubstep one, but instead today we're going to be looking at how to make a future-based track. We'll take a look at this arrangement that I have here. It's a track that I've been working on for a little while. So yeah, let's just get right to it. Alright, so the first thing I want to have a look at here is my drums, because they're pretty complex and very important to future bass and how you layer it. Alone with the sub bass, this is how it sounds. Alright, so first part of this is the kick drum. It's just this big thumpy kick. Nothing really special. Really distorted. I haven't EQ'd it or compressed or anything because, again, this is just a work in progress so far. But the one thing I did do to it that I feel is important is I shortened this because it had a reverb tail that sounded really weird, and just decided to shorten that by a bit for sidechaining purposes, because I like to sidechain everything directly to my kick, not just to like a MIDI or anything like that. That's just how I work. But next we'll look at the sub. It sounds like this. And all it is a massive patch with a compressor sidechain to the kick. And also I put this auto filter on to kind of act as an EQ, just taking off a lot of the high end because it's a sub, you don't need any of that. But the patch is literally just a sine wave that, sine square wave, I guess. That I guess I distorted with the square a little bit, just scooted it not all the way to the sine wave. And then in your oscillator tab, this is important, you have this pitch bend right here that can go up 12 semitones and down semitones, just 12 semitones, and just make sure you have it like that because it gives off the effect of like that pitch fall. Example is just right here where it goes. But yeah, and something else important I feel about the MIDI is, you notice I don't start exactly on every beat, and that's because this kick is so big and just so subby, I didn't want that to interfere at all, so I just shortened it because you can't really hear it, and the rest of it that you do hear is just sidechain. So I mean, not really pro tip, but I mean, that's just what I like to do to avoid any conflicting frequencies in the sub area. The next thing we'll look at is this giant clap snare type thing. On the group, I just have an EQ, again, cutting off all the low end. We only need that in the sub and in the kick. I also took off a bit of the mid frequencies so it doesn't collide with the super saw. Here's what it sounds like on its own. And it's just a combination of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 samples. The first one being just a clap. And find claps like that in any trap sample or whatever. The next one is just a little bell to add some of the high end. The next sample is kind of this weird snare clap hybrid thing. Super distorted, but I mean, it just adds to the sound, I feel. And then the last one that is incorporated in that is just this snap. Again, just adding layers. And then I reversed the weird snare thing up here and added it right before some of the claps, just to kind of add something interesting so it's not just a straight clap. And that just sounds like this. And also, I delayed it 39 milliseconds so it just fits in better, because with the delay it sounds like this, and without it, if I can get there, it sounds like this. No, I just didn't like that. That's all just personal opinion. The next thing we're gonna look at, I just have a ride here that sidechain to the kick and also sidechain to one of the samples in my clap, and took out some of the mid and low frequencies, again, just so it's not colliding with anything. Just sounds like this. And it just adds, noise, fills up any empty spaces in there. The next thing is I have this kind of big kick thing, I guess is what I called it. Just sounds like this. And again, just adds something cool, like a filler. And I just have this sample of a bunch of weird noises, as you can see. That's just one of them. Just sampled like a kick drum and pitched it up one semitone. And then for this, I consolidated 3 of them together and automated the transposition or whatever, starting from 0 and going all the way down to 5. Yeah, and then the last 2 things I have are just these like super typical trap snare things. Oop. And yeah, again, you open up the envelopes tab and go to clip and transposition, and yeah, made it go down 7 semitones, and that's just the same thing right here, just at a different volume. So yeah, that's all the drums. Alright, so the next section we're going to have a look at is just the super saw, and alone it sounds like this. Alright, so first we'll look at the group as a whole. All I really have on it is this OTT filter where I kind of just mess with the parameters in here of the actual compressor. Again, just to fit how I wanted it to sound. We also have a utility increasing the width. It's modulated a few different places, just right here. And yeah, I don't know, it just added a little bit of an effect to it. The saturator right here, again, just to bring out some harmonics, so you increase the drive just a little bit, because why not? We have this auto filter that modulates in a few different places, and you can hear it. It goes. And yeah, that's what that does. Then we have this EQ here. I mostly just, whenever I'm EQing my supersaws, I always just try and find where the muddiness and where it just sounds kind of bad is at. I usually just drag up one of these points and just listen to some of the frequencies, and yeah, this is just what I decide. So I took a little bit out of the mid, a little bit out of the mid-high, and boosted the high. And again, took off all the low end so there's no confliction with the sub bass or the kick. Side chain to the kick. It's pretty intense just because I really want that kick to be out there and be really loud compared to everything else. And then side chained it to, again, one of these samples in the clap snare section. So the first patch we have here, just going to unfreeze it, is Serum, and it sounds like this. Anyways, so all I really did was increase the unison, detune it a bit, activate oscillator B, did the same thing, made the unison 7, increased the detune, and then I put this just, I think all the LFOs are just default like this, onto the volume of each oscillator to kind of give it that future bass vibe. Then in the effects section, I have the hyper dimension expander. I turned mix down. I don't think this is actually really doing anything super severe. And then I added another compressor, put it on the multi-band section. And the cool thing is that in Serum, this compressor kind of acts like the OTT filter. So you can get those really big super saws with just one patch, but I like to use lots of them to really drive through that it's a big sounding super saw. The next one is, again, we'll unfreeze it. It's just another Serum with an EQ. Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot done to that. Same thing, I think I actually just copy and pasted the other one, but instead I just made these straight saws, so it sounds like this. Yeah, and I just kept the same modulation, and I took off the compressor, kept the hyperdimension expander. I'm going to freeze these just because latency again. It's getting really CPU. Serum takes up a lot of CPU, so whenever I can, I like to just freeze the sections. Just do that. That's quicker. The next one is just my massive layer that I like to throw on. It's just this dirty saw layer. If you watch the melodic dubstep tutorial, you know how to make this. It sounds like this. And just modulated the volume again with this LFO, same triangle shape. All it really is a bunch of distorted saws, detuned, some bright noise, sample and hold, a hard clipper, a Bronner tube, and the scream filter. And then in the voicings tab, I pushed it to 5 unison, put it on monophonic, and then the pitch cut off. Yeah, again, you can watch my other tutorial if you want to know in detail how to make that. Here's the EQ and the dimension expander, what I put on that. And then this last Serum is just for later. I'll get into that in a bit when I go into the vocals. But something also important that I wanted to show was that so in some of the sections I actually modulate where it's panned, so it just kind of has a bigger presence. I don't know. I just thought it had a cool effect when I added the auto filter and everything like that. So it just felt like it was moving a little more. But yeah, that's all there really is to the supersaw section, except I also have a return channel, this reverb, that I ran my supersaw into, because if you want reverb on something, I feel like you should put and have the signal still be clear and have your supersaw. It's the same idea with vocals. You should always put them in a return channel. You don't always have to, but I definitely like to keep my supersaws clean but still have some reverb to fill up empty spaces. But yeah, that's the supersaw section. So the last thing that I wanted to look at was the vocals, the arpeggiator, and a few of the filler things that really make the track sound as big as it is. Together, all these filler elements, the crashes, and a few other percussion samples sound like this. Okay, so the first thing we'll look at is the vocals alone, which sound like. And we have just a few different effects. I have the utility, again, with the same reason that I had it on the Supersaw, just to make it the stereo wideness increase at a few different points. I have a reverb, a ping pong delay, a chorus, these two compressors that are just my side chains, an auto filter which comes in with the Supersaw to have that build-up effect, like right there, and then I have a gate that activates right here, so it goes, and it just again adds a cool little glitchy effect to that whole section. And then an EQ taking out the low end, little bit of decrease in the mid here, and a real big boost in the high end. Individually, the samples just come from a random acapella I took, I don't even remember where, but I just pitched them to wherever they fit to, so 8 semitones here. And then in a few different sections I pitched them down, like this section is pitched up 10 semitones. And I also added some track panning, to same reason with the Supersaw, just to add something interesting to it. And then decreased it 4 semitones here. Yeah, and that's all that really is. This section is actually just a vocoded version of that vocal. It sounds like this. And what I did for that is I actually just copied what the Supersaw was playing into this serum patch, and it just plays straight saw waves, and yeah, just vocoded it to that, because I don't know, I always thought vocoded vocals sounded really cool. Anyways, next thing we'll look at is the arpeggiator. Usually I draw in individual notes, but I liked kind of the randomness that came along with it. I have the rate at 1/16. I think that's all that I really changed. Maybe the style too. I don't remember what the stock arpeggiator does, but here's those, because I just wanted it to be a fast sounding arpeggiator. That's the only reason I increased the rate. The sample, oh, get out of here. The patch itself is just a square wave. I mean, that's literally all it is, pitched up 24 semitones. I messed with the fourth envelope here, which, if you've used Massive before, you know that it acts like an ADSR kind of thing for it, so I increased the tack. The delay here is a bit longer, so it has a long kind of reverby tail, and I increased the release as well. And yeah, I mean, that's all there really is to it. Oh yeah, and decrease the level. Super, super duper simple patch. And the last thing we'll have a look at is some of these filler things. Like I just have a cymbal, crash cymbal, taken off the low end, decreasing in some of the high, mid, and sidechain to my kick. Another crash cymbal that's just reversed. I meant to put an EQ to take off the low end there and whatnot, but that's all that sounds like. Just some weird little drum patch thing to kind of fill in with the second part of the drop, so where it sounds like this. And it's just another noise to kind of fill in that area. Then I have some hi-hats. Again, you can find most of these samples just in like a free trap sample pack or whatever. But I took off all the low end, sidechained it to my kick, my snare, and then I have this auto filter to kind of just fade it out at the very end. Then just have a white noise buildup for the very end of the drop. Sidechained to my kick, EQ'd, taking out the low end. It's just bright noise, and I just move the color up and down and modulated the actual volume of it. And that's all that is. Again, super, super basic. And then the last thing in the drop is just this layer of choir, which I thought was cool. Again, I need to sidechain EQ it, all that stuff. But yeah, it's just from Contact. I didn't really change anything. I think I added, I made it an octave so it was like 2 people singing, and then increased the reverb. And I mean, yeah, altogether that's this Future Bass track. So yeah guys, that's my Future Bass tutorial. If you have any more suggestions or anything like that, just leave them down in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever you really want to do. Yeah, it always helps out, and I'd love to put out more tutorials like this. So yeah, see you guys next time.